All right, we back, and y'all let me know if I'm clear now. Y'all let me know how I sound now. All right, I think I sound better. So we're just gonna go ahead and finish the conversation. I don't really like to. That's what's up. That's what's up, Shawala. I don't really like to break up these programs. I like to have it all on one. But just to finish up the conversation, and let me put the number back up there because I want to take everybody number. Just because YouTube messed it up, I want everybody to have the opportunity to say what they got to say, and we should be good for from here on out. But yeah, call in, Shawala. But I just wanted to finish the conversation on reparations. Now, I don't know if y'all heard, but the brother that asked, what is it gonna take for us to get reparations? And at the end of the day, deep down, we all know exactly what it's gonna take to get reparations, right? We know when we really ask ourselves what we have to do, we know the answer, right? And like I was saying the other day, right? A cop, they can get on their radio and call for 10 other cops, and they'll be there armed and surround a protective circle around the other cop, and he can violate whatever person's right that he wants to violate. You know, right? Exactly. We already know, but until we get to a point where we can call somebody and have 10 people ready to show up and do whatever we they got to do to protect each other, to protect ourselves, then we'll know we'll be in the situation. But right now we're in a situation where, as a community, as a group of people, right, we'll go cape for somebody who don't even think we're human, somebody who calls us predators, right? But we have to go make sure he gets to be president. He don't even have to offer us anything. And I don't really like to mention the first black president because a lot of people talk about Barack Obama, being the first black president. But even he didn't have to offer the black community a damn thing for us to feel like we accomplished something, right? Our ancestors didn't die for the right to vote. They died for the right to have representation. If they died for that, they died because they were killed. But if you want to say that they died for representation, it's not just to have somebody with melanin up there who still enforces white supremacy. And for somebody who has a history like Joe Biden has, you know, for us to still be like, oh, well, we have to go support him just to get Trump out of office, what makes us think that America will ever offer us a damn thing? They won't offer us a dime. But I'm not really sure how many people know we started the show. But yeah, anybody who got anything to say about it, you can call in. Um, the number is right there on the screen. Call in, Shawala. The number is 804-601-4015. And I want to ask people what's going on, how they feel about, ADOS or whatever. Now, all right, take another call. Hello.
Hey, brother, what got you showing up?
Hey, what's going on, Shawala?
Not a whole lot.
So, what you feel about it?
Alright, so first let me just start here. Me personally, I don't even know why we even talk about any of these damn politicians because this system was not made for us. I used to vote personally. I don't have no dog in none of this fight, so I'm not voting for. I ain't talking about none of these fools. Like, I don't have nothing for that. Like, I just don't have time. As far as reparations, do we deserve it? Hell yeah, we know that. That's not even a question. the thing with me is I do not believe we're ever going to get it unless there's some bloodshed. I mean, the reality is we know we're not going to get it. You think about the fact that this ADOS movement, when it really started taking off, and they became, it was like publicized last year when, you know, they made it to MSNBC and they start talking about it. Them people totally ignored us. Then they turned around and said that they have to do the study, which is bull. There's nothing to study. You know, it's a bill and it's due. They owe this. They turned around. They gave like $7.5 million to the children from across the border. You know, it just started adding up. Then they gave it to LGBTQ. Supposedly they got some type of reparation. And if you remember, about mid-year last year, in the Midwest, all that flooding happened, and all their farmers were crying about they didn't have no money, they couldn't pay their bills, and all this blah blah. They got reparations. They also gave Indians another package, like $60 million reparations last year. They're not trying to, you know, and you see what's happening now. You know, they gave everybody this little measly $1,200, but they're handing out money like candy. You know, they just print that shit off like whatever. They're not trying to. They're playing games. They ain't trying to give us nothing. We're not getting nothing until we stop being afraid. And I don't mean to make anybody feel any kind of way either, especially, I love my black men. I love the black men, this country. I love all melanated black men. But there's been a lot of cowardice in our community. And I hate to say, you know, you look at brothers like Tommy Sotomayor and some other people, you know, I don't watch too much of them people, but they talk about how the black woman is and how big her mouth is and how she can take a hit and keep on, blah, blah, all that crap. But the black woman has kind of have this thing where she does have a big mouth. And she has been out there, and don't get me wrong, there's men too, but it's like the black woman really has been out there holding down brothers and trying to hold down our people. But there's been a lot of black men, like, they're not showing up. They're supposed to protect us as the women. They're supposed to protect our children. They're supposed to protect their other brothers. And then, and in turn, you know, we all, that strengthens us all. They're supposed to, you know, black men are supposed to be our leaders. We need them to show up when, instead of taking all these videos of, you know, recording what's happening on the street, and you can hear them watching the police. Like, there needs to be action. And if a brother can do that and another brother help join in, then your sister is going to join in. People just got to stop standing by and letting all this bullshit that's happening to us happen. And I understand fear, but it's just time for that shit to be deaded. We really got to just step it up. We got to stop being afraid of what could happen to us, what's going to happen. Them people have no regard for us when we know that. So what is there to be afraid of? It's just time. It's time for all this to come to a head, come to an end. It might be bloody, but if we're going to actually have a change, it is what it is. You know, it just is what it is. We got to be willing to die for what the hell we believe in, and that's reality.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, but yeah, reparations. Yeah, we deserve it. We're owed it.
So
Real talk.
Let me
we ain't getting it.
So how do you feel about ADOS?
No, that's all I had to say. I thought you were going to say something.
No, you heard me. I said, how do you feel about ADOS?
You know, in the beginning, I was excited about it, but it became politicized. And to be honest, I think I had said before, and the brother who was on before was talking about, like, we need a leader. We don't. I just don't believe that, because it's just too much power in the hands of one individual. And we see what happens every time when that happens. They become a target. They're not always speaking for the whole of us. We all just got to start stepping up. And like if you want to be involved in politics, then do it on a local level. Start small. Start with your congressman, your councilman, your mayor. You put the people you want in those positions. You know, when it starts coming down to the president and people like the president didn't do this, it's not his damn job. You know, each state is, you know, when you think of historically, each state basically governs themselves. That's why some of the states were, you know, seceding when you think about the Civil War. If you want shit done, you put the people you want in office locally. So just ADOS. I'm not crazy about it no more. They start talking about voting. You need to vote for this one and that one and B and this one's corner. I told you I ain't with politics as far as that goes no more. I don't give a shit about no president. I don't care about none of these people. I do care, I guess, you know, about the congressman who's representing the state that I'm in, who I'm sending to, you know, create laws and sign and pass laws, whether or not they do. But other than that, yeah, I'm not cool with ADOS no more. I do believe in American descendants of slavery, yes, but I'm not with that whole program per se. I'm not with that group of people. I'm just for our people as a whole. And I think, honestly, things like that, it doesn't help us in the end. What are they doing? They have chapters supposedly in all these states. I don't hear of anything that's happening or coming out of that. You know what I mean? So I really don't have no feeling about them. I'm not knocking what they do. It is what it is. If they can get black people to come together, that's awesome. But I really don't feel like they don't have any games. I don't see any.
Okay. I appreciate that, sis. Thanks for the call.
Thanks for taking it.
All right. Thank you. Well, yeah, you know, the sister made some great points. And at the end of the day, you know, the brother, I'm not sure if you heard it, the brother before her called, and you know, he compared me to Malcolm X, and I appreciate that. And, you know, Malcolm X is his own man and all of that stuff. But, you know, at the end of the day, it takes, you know, I'm more afraid not to do something than to do something, right? Because we're already being killed. We're already at war. If we don't do something, we're still going to be murdered. You know, I'm more afraid not to do something than to do something at the end of the day, right? And, you know, when it comes to reparations, a lot of people will say, well, you need to have a name or whatever. But we're in a position where we can create whatever we want to create. We can call ourselves whatever we want to call ourselves. But it's not really about the name, because they don't really care about the name. No matter what name we call ourselves right now, we can call ourselves the Planeteers if we want to. But no matter what name we call ourselves right now, it will still have the same connotation as every other name we called ourselves. Because as a community, as a group, until we understand that we are all we got and we do what we have to do, and like the sister said, no, we don't need any one particular leader. I believe in more so councils. And I say all the time, you know, just as a solution, right? And YouTube kind of messed this show up tonight. But, you know, we can nominate a group of successful Black business people and put them in charge strictly of funding and helping grow Black businesses. And we all can contribute to it. Now we have to make sure they stay transparent and they do what they say they're going to do, right? Because our enemy has a way of infiltrating whatever we do. That's why we have to be aware of the groups, you know, that's supposed to be representing Black people that's still around. And, you know, the FBI or any organization hasn't infiltrated. That's because they probably created it in the first place. But we can create this council strictly to fund and help grow Black businesses. And when we put them in our neighborhoods, then we can all can contribute to it, and in return they'll hire us, and we'll be able to recycle our dollars in our own communities, right? And then once we rebuild our communities, we can rebuild our institutions, create our own schools, our own protection, like police force, right? And then when we get to that point, like somebody commented earlier, when you're in a position where you can be, stable, then you're ready to not only, accept reparations, you'll be ready to go and get your reparations, right? But right now, while we're fighting over which racist political candidate we want representing us, we're in no position to make any demands. But as a people, we have to understand the history that we have been through, right? And we're not as divided as people want us to believe, right? We're not where we need to be or where we want to be, but we're not as far off as people like to portray. And when it comes to ADOS, then when it first came out, it caused a big division between Black Americans and American or Black people from other places. And one thing that I learned, and I'm not really sure if you ever heard of the, I know you heard of the Rwandan crisis in '94, right? But this is what they do. This is why we have to understand history, right? They always put two sides against each other, and if we fight each other, we'll never have time to link up and fight the enemy and go get what we deserve, right? But these people, they shared the same culture, spoke the same language, had the same religions, all of that stuff. And then the Germans, back when then the Germans came in back, during the Berlin Conference, right, and divided the people into two groups, the Hutu and the Tutsi, or the Tutsi, or whatever, right? And they put the Tutsi in charge of the Hulu and made the Hulu the slaves and made the Tutsi, they called them the superior class, and put them in charge and gave them what would be white privilege in America, right? So then when the Belgians came in and, they got even more sicker with it, they actually made them into racial classes, right? They described the groups as two different things, right? They said the Tutsi were taller, they measured their noses and all of that stuff, and say they're superior. And the Tutsi, in response, instead of unifying and kicking out the minority colonizers, right? They ate it up, and they were harsh against the Hutu or the Hulu. So eventually, after World War II, when the Belgians got kicked out, now the Hutu wanted to blame them for everything. And so, for years, they were in power, and the Tutsi, they kicked them out of the country, and they tried to come back, and which led to the the Civil War in Rwanda, right? And so the Hutu said, instead of going back into slavery, we're going to kill all of the Tutsi that we see. So they went around killing their own family, their own friends, and everything. But the moral of the story is there ended up being 1 million dead Africans in the Rwandan genocide in 1994, right? But no Belgians, no French, no Germans. They didn't kill any of the colonizers who divided them in the first place. And then when you see ADOS come back today, right? Now you see a division between Black Americans and everybody else. Now we're fighting everybody else, and we have infighting and division amongst ourselves. Meanwhile, even though the French don't like each other, the French and the Germans don't like each other, or the English and the Dutch don't like each other, right? They realize that if they say, well, we're just unified under our whiteness, we can keep them subject to whatever they want to be subject to. right? And that's how in Haiti, when the Haitian Revolution, they managed to kick the Europeans out, but they ended up having so many civil wars. The Europeans were able to come back in and tax them in order not to slave them, and now they're still paying that money to them today. And they've always used these divisions to keep us apart, right? So now you never attacking, like the Haitians never specifically go after the French. Now we're arguing when it comes to reparations from America, when you know the European powers are the ones who we're supposed to be coming together against. But at the end of the day, they've always used this divide and conquer tactic. And as long as we let organizations, especially self-organizations, and by the way, anybody pushing any political person, any political side, Democrat or Republican, they're suspect. And there's a reason why I didn't really mention Adolf's one way or the other, right? Because me being a descendant of American slavery, I am Adolf, and we're going to get our reparations. But at the same time, it's not to alienate other people. And there's tension on both sides, but both sides, we let the colonizer, the enemy, tell us what the other side is thinking, and we take their word as gospel. Right there has been miseducation on every side. History has been destroyed on every side. And we listen to what our colonizers have to say. What's going on, brother guy? Yeah, it's definitely a whole nother story. But I'm about to close it out soon. So if anybody else wanna call in and say what they got to say about the subject, you can call in right now. I was just wanted to give everybody a chance to call in. I had to restart it over. I know a lot of people had to leave out. So I was just trying to give everybody a chance to call in. The numbers on the screen is 804-601-4015. But you won't get reparations without black unity, without being on code, right? The one thing they learn how to do is use their whiteness. Um, well, I mean, I guess I don't really know enough about FBA, but I mean, I guess I am. I would be considered that. That's my point. And I understand the argument on both sides about how ADOS have funded, foundational Black Americans. I understand how the claim is strictly with just them in America, and it doesn't supposed to be isolating any other group. All right.
Call from.
Hello.
Hey, brother, Shalala again.
Hey, what's up, Shalala?
Hey, I just needed to say something because it's somebody in the chat that's saying something. I can't seem to type in even the word abuse. So I just want to tell Time to Work that the Arabs is over there beating, whipping, and torturing Africans. So what the hell do they need money for? But why the hell would anybody over here care about any other people's getting reparations? We ain't worried about none of them people. And Arabs is the last people that need reparations. They were the first ones to start messing with us in the first place. So I just needed to tell him or her or whatever, whoever they are, that we ain't trying to do this for no Arabs. We ain't trying to do this for nobody on them islands. Everybody can hold their own nuts. It's about Black Americans first and only, and that's it. I don't know what else to say. That's it. I was mad about that.
All right. Thanks, sis.
All right, thank you.
All right. And yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, I think you meant to say yeah from Arabs. Yeah, and that's what we need to say. I talk about white supremacy because that's the current system that we're living in. We're in America, right? But we can't forget about, the enemies before this, the Arabs, and the enemies that look like it's going to be next, the Asians. All right, let me take this next call.
Call from John Hollywood Jr.
Yo, brother guy, what's going on, my brother?
Hey, hold up, my brother. Forecast, how you doing?
I'm good, man. How you doing, bro?
I'm good. Yo, I just want to just say my thoughts on this reparations. First of all, this whole ADOS crap, like, I'm gonna be real with it, right? Like, when they talk about American descendants of slaves, right? Okay, which Americans you talking about? See, people gotta learn geographics, right? And this is something that we learn in school. You have Black Americans in South America. You have Black Americans in North America. And you do have Black Americans in Central America. But you got the Caribbeans. So when we say American descendants of slaves, well, who was the first people as far as the transatlantic slaves, who was the first person who took part of the Portuguese? So what they did, they sent out some of our ancestors in Brazil, and Colombia, all throughout South America, right? And then you have the French and all these in Spain or whatever. They took parts and took some of our ancestors in Jamaica and Costa Rica and all this other stuff, Cuba. So our people were spread all throughout the world, right, during slavery. All right, then you got the Arabs. They was the first one that enslaved our people through the sub-Saharan slave trade. That black people was afraid to talk about, especially the black people that's in the Muslim world. That the Arabs don't really include them in their stuff anyway. So I don't even know why they want to become that. But so when we talk about American descendants of slaves, we got Black Americans everywhere, not just in North America. So I think the name should be renamed. If you're only talking about, I'm just talking about the ADOS people. If the ADOS people want to talk, you got to be really specific of what you're talking about. If you're talking about the United States, black folks or people in black folks that was enslaved, then say United States. But when you say America, you got to be, that's very broad. You know what I mean? So I think that's the misconception. And plus, we're not descendants of slaves. I think that's another disrespectful way of saying, because I'm not a descendant of slaves. I was descendant of African people that were enslaved. Because my people, we came from somewhere. You know what I mean? And the more I get tired of that when people say, well, and these ADOS, some of them don't believe they came from Africa. So I don't want to be connected to that. I don't want to be connected because I come from somewhere. You know what I mean? And I know my descendants didn't come from America. My DNA don't even trace back to this continent. So I think I think people need to be really. They need to I think the name should be changed. You know what I'm saying? To that degree. Also, to reparations. Reparations is very important. If America can, right now with under this condition of this coronavirus epidemic, look how fast they send that money out. Look how fast they send out all these trillions of dollars. And you mean to tell me they didn't have that money to give up reparations for that? You know what I mean? So if they can send out trillions of dollars on the people who's not working, that means they had the money all along. And plus they give them billions of dollars to Israel. So they have money. America has money. So when people keep say, oh, well, this country will go broke if they give us reparations, that's a cop-out. That's like saying, well, as long as we make excuses for white folks and saying, oh, well, they won't have enough money to pay us, it's a cop-out. If you look at what they did to the Jewish Holocaust, if you look at what they did for the Native Indians, and so on, the Japanese Americans who still getting reparations to this day for the concentration camps in World War II, and see the victims didn't get it. It was the survivors. It was the grandchildren children that got it. So how come we can't get it? What is our reason? You know what I'm saying? And if we're gonna fight for something, let's fight for that. You know, how long black people gonna be fighting for handouts? It hasn't done nothing. And then we're gonna keep fighting for the same thing or equality. Same thing. And it's like after a while we get tired. Then your kids and your kids gonna keep fighting for the same thing for the next 100 years. And then when we do have somebody that's fighting for us, we put them down or we get them killed. You know, it was black people that killed Malcolm X. It was black people that set up Dr. King. It was black people that set up Marcus Garvey. You know what I'm saying? So we gotta understand when we have people that represent us, we gotta stop tearing them down and setting them up and being agents and being informants for the enemy. It's not right. You know, when it's like everybody else get ahead, but when it comes down to us getting our justice and our independence, it becomes an issue. It becomes big talk. And I really don't care what other races say. It's all about what I say. And I'm only concerned when I hear black folks talking that rhetoric, talking about we don't deserve reparations and we don't deserve nothing, it becomes a problem. To me, they're the enemy. I don't care what nobody say. If you can't, you tell me you can't reconnect to your mother Africa and try to build bridges so we can have our own movie production and stick with our own. You know what I'm saying? So have our own land. You know, and I'm not saying black people don't have to move out of North America. We have a right. We have every right to live in this country just like everybody else because we built it before any other race did. White people didn't build this country. We built North America. We have every right to say. I'm just saying let Africa be a second home. So just in case something happens to this country, we can have a place to go to. Just like other people have a place to go to. That's all I'm saying. So reparations is very important to me, and I want my fair share. That's all I need to say, brother. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate that.
All right, thank you for calling, my brother. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. But yeah, I appreciate the call. No, if anybody else got anything to say, you can call in 804-601-4015. But I'm about to wrap it up soon. I just want everybody to get their, what they got to say. And but it appears that now more people are against, the ADOS as the particular organization. But we all know that we will get our reparations, and we have to understand that we will get it, right? But it's going to take for us to be on code. And like the brother was saying, like there's so many black people that say, we don't even need reparations. You ain't going to do nothing but waste it anyway. But first of all, no matter what we do with our reparations, that's our own business. But we do need, as a group, to have more direction, a more focus, a plan for when we get it, right? But the thing about America is we won't get reparations until we have the plan in the first place, right? And that's the whole thing about reparations. And like I said, I don't really like to talk about Obama, but he was supposed to be the first black president, and when asked about reparations, he started talking about schools in South Carolina, for not only just for black kids, but for all kids, right? But this same president, went over to Israel, gave a speech talking about how the Holocaust was the most horrible thing that's ever happened in history, and he gave reparations. Now, if that doesn't show you the situation we're in, and by the way, why are we still fighting for, Joe Biden? If Obama wouldn't do it, Joe Biden won't do it. And if they won't even pass laws just to help you, just not to harm you, right? Just pass laws not to lock you up, not to have you killed, right? What makes you think that fighting for this guy is going to get you anything when you don't even have any demands for him in the first place? And, we do have to be more politically aware, and we are becoming more politically aware. And by the way, the internet is definitely changing the game. But as a collective, we're going to have to be on code, not only just in America, but globally. For us to have any effect, the effect that we want to have globally, we have to have each other's backs. And, I understand about the specific claims to specific governments, like the, American government, the United States government, or, the British or the French, or like the brother said, the first people were the Portuguese, the Spanish. If you I understand about making particular claims to that and organizing under that particular claim. But if, for example, American black people aren't backing up, black people from Ghana, or black people from Haiti aren't backing up black people from America, it's going to be very difficult, because if Haiti ever decide to attack France or something, then it doesn't matter if they're friends with Germany. Off the fact of whiteness, then Germany is going to help France against Haiti, right? But if we're on helping Haiti against France, right, then we're going to continue to lose. And that's why divide and conquer is so important for them, because if we're divided, then we are a minority. But globally, we are not the minority. They are a minority. And the only way they can be the majority is through divide and conquer. But if yeah, it needs to go to the United Nations and the World Court. But if it does go to the United Nations right now, America can just look at the United Nations like, what are you going to do about it, right? You can't make us do anything, right? They're the bully of the world. They're just bullying people, right? Until you have a formidable opponent that they actually fear, right? They aren't going to listen to you. Just like when Martin Luther King, of course he started talking about integration, but when he started talking about coming to get that check, then he became a problem and he had to go, right? But while he was talking about non-violence, everything was okay. They was just letting him get beat up. They was gonna just let it keep happening. But then black people started getting tired of getting beat up. Martin Luther King started talking about that money. Yeah, we are prisoners of war. Like the brother said, I don't really like to call ourselves slaves. Well, we are prisoners of war. We are kidnapped victims. We have been literally kidnapped. But with with the whole Martin Luther King thing, it wasn't just Martin Luther King. It was the threat of black people not having it no more and ready to fight back that made them ready to sit down and negotiate. Now they came up with a plan. Integration was nothing but a counter to the Black Power movement, and we have to be ready for the next counter. And I talk about that. We have to be ready for the next counter. But at the end of the day, we are all we got. And until we are ready to do what we have to do, we will continue to be in the same system and continue to be subject to the same punishment, right? Same laws, same everything, right? And they can talk about studying reparations. You can pull out any event from any decade and say, this deserves reparations in itself, right? They know and they understand better than we do, right? They created the system, so they know the system better than we know the system. So for them to act stupid, and they only act stupid in these situations, right? Because you look at cases like with OJ, right? That was right after Rodney King. They beat up Rodney King. It had nothing to do with race, right? But OJ got off. It had everything to do with race, because they understand better than we do. They know how to play the race game. They know. They came up with the race card because they know how to use the race card, and they'll use things like that to stop us from getting what we deserve, right? But You know, if somebody, and I hate to put it like this, if somebody's walking up, punching you in the face, it's going to be a little hard to play games with them. So until we get to that point, then, you know, then we're going to just keep expecting the same thing over and over. Right? We can talk about, you know, just the incarceration system itself and how that deserves reparations in itself, the private prison industry in itself, the 94 crime bill in itself, the drug epidemic in itself, right? And this is just the last 30 years or so. For people who like to say slavery was in the past, it was over. Tell me when it's over. So, you know, and talking about reparations, right? They're still inflicting the same damages on us right now, right? They're gonna have to stop inflicting the damage before they can repair the damage they're inflicting, right? That's one reason why it's gonna be difficult to get reparations until this system is completely destroyed. And you know, it's up to us to do that. Yeah, definitely. I believe in black councils or just councils in general. But you know, if nobody else got anything to say on the subject, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up. I appreciate everybody that came through, especially y'all who came back after, you know, YouTube kind of messing me up. I don't know why the voices keep getting digitized. And, you know, that's another reason why we need councils and, you know, we need to stick together because we need to create our own platforms when these platforms act like this, right? It doesn't mean you don't have to use this platform. You can use this platform and take the listeners and bring them back to your platform, right? But we can create some kind of, you know, whatever it is where we all contribute to it and get, you know, a black web designer to create our own website to put whatever material that YouTube don't want you to have on here. Because, you know, I know YouTube has guidelines, but they don't go by the guidelines. I wouldn't say Trump is destroying the government. All right, take this last call.
Call from.
Yo, brother Bakar.
I mean, I want to call you back.
Yeah, what's up, bro?
What it boils down to is what we willing to fight for. What are we willing to bleed for? What are we willing to draw blood for? And I was reading when Times of Work say we need the top 50 black minds to go back in front of the United Nations. This is the thing, right? With that, sounds like a good idea, but who's to say who's the top 50 black minds? We have to be careful before we create another talented 10. You understand what I'm saying? Because the talented 10 was the buffer class. You feel me? They were the buffer class. When we let go, the United Nations know exactly what's going on. Everybody in the world knows exactly what is going on with black people all around the world. So going to the United Nations to talk to somebody, it could help. But we have to draw the line. The line has been drawn in the sand. Are we going to stay behind the line and constantly complain? Or are we willing to stand up? Are we willing to stand up, be strong black men and women, and do what we need to do for ours? Like I said earlier, this country was taken by force. We were taken by force. They fought their own people because they wanted to be free. They used force. They don't respect the begging. I understand that they have given to everybody. They gave to the Native American Indians. But if you look at the Native American Indians, and like the guy who I once worked with, who was a Navajo, if you look at them, most of the chiefs, their tribal council, you look at them, they just look like white people. They gave to the Jews. They gave to the Chinese, the Japanese. They have given to everybody except us.
I just want to know, what do we plan to do? That's the biggest thing. And if you feel of course, everybody knows that we deserve reparations. But have we drawn up a plan to do something about it? And like I said, for me, the first thing you have to do is learn to take care of ourselves. We start taking care of ourselves. That's the first fight. Like when I read the book by Li Jingzhao, the first fight the Chinese got, who wrote the book and talking about how it's going to be a fight, it's going to be a war for the world, right? It's going to be a fight for the world between the Asians and the white people. First, it's going to be a financial war, and you see China coming, and you see the yellow people following them, right? And now, once it becomes a financial war, it's going to be a physical war, and they will have enough numbers where they could defeat them in a physical war. To see, don't think North Korea ain't with China. All them countries like that's together. See, they have nuclear weapons. We have not built anything to protect ourselves. The nuclear weapon is a power move. They're not going to mess with that. We have nothing, no country in this world that's black run that's trying to protect themselves from anybody or no other black people from anybody. But they will stop what they're doing, and they're going to, like you said when I was listening, the Germans will help the French. They will stop what they're doing to attack us. So it's not, if they're going to give us reparations, it's about what are we going to do about us getting reparations. I believe it starts with us, internal reparations, but we have to come up with a different plan as we were just talking about. Keep your money in your pocket. Let's support one another. Support real black business. That's what it is. We can't continue to complain saying they owe us, because they know they owe us. But what you gonna do about it? And what are we gonna do about it? It's time to make a plan. And we can't make the plan on the internet because we don't want them to know our plan. But it's time to come up with a plan. That's all I have to say.
Oh, yeah, I appreciate that, my brother. I appreciate that. Thanks for the call. But yeah, at the end of the day, we all really deep down know what it's gonna take, and we know what we have to do. It's just a matter of doing it, right? We just have to find a way to motivate ourselves to be motivated, right? We have to learn ourselves, and then we have to instill it in our children. It's a reason why they went after our children. They ended the actual slave trade before they ended slavery, because they understood that it was hard. It's harder to enslave a grown person who has known freedom than it is to enslave a little kid who knows nothing, right? And that's why it's important for us to control our own children's minds. And as long as we send our kids to their schools, they're gonna teach them to argue against to argue against reparations for us. Yeah, and it's gonna take financial liberation. And we have to be prepared, because like before, when we were cycling our dollars and doing what we have to do, the illusion of inclusion didn't exist. They looked at us and said, how that nigga has a damn piano in his house and I don't have anything, right? And then they went in there and they destroyed their communities, right? And like I said before, that's another case for reparations in itself. But until we start controlling our children's minds, right, and teaching them the truth and teaching them the real history and how we've never stopped fighting from day one. We fought back from day one up until right now, and our ancestors' struggle is our struggle until we've accomplished the goals that we have to accomplish, right? Until we're no longer prisoners of war. So for them to say, well, we have to forget about the past and let everything go and forgive them, we're still in the same position, in the same situation, in the same fight. It's just that Today, we suffer from the illusion of inclusion, and we don't understand that. So, until we learn that we are all we got, we got to stop. We got to do what we have to do. And as a people, we have to understand that it is, like I said, I am more afraid not to do something than to do something because they're already doing what they're doing. They're already in full-fledged war, right? And then, I'll be more of a victim and I'll be more helpless not to do something. I'll be committing suicide not to do something. Doing something is the easy part. But, I want to thank all of y'all for coming through. I appreciate it. And I'm going to be back in a few days. I'm going to get back to work on, these videos. Sometimes it take a little longer than others, but I wanted to come and holler at the people. And I think everybody who called in, everybody in the chat is much love. I appreciate y'all. Y'all give me motivation. That's why I want to come on here and talk to y'all. I don't mean to be on here so long, but I'll be on here longer than I planned. But I want to thank everybody and go subscribe to the Forecast Radio, the Forecast Radio 24, my backup channel. That's where all the forecast videos you used to will be at. And if I upload them on this channel, they probably just take the whole channel down. So, but again, I appreciate it. And as always, man, we have got to start standing for something, or we're going to keep falling for anything.